Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wordy Story. Today, we're going to explore a wonderful story about the dangers of making decisions in anger. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a young king named David. He had just inherited the throne at the age of 25 after his father's passing. Growing up, David was guided by a wise teacher named Edward. Edward didn't just teach him about the world. He taught him the values of kindness, patience, and wisdom. After the old king died, Edward became David's closest advisor, helping him navigate the many challenges of ruling. Everything in the kingdom was going smoothly until one year an unexpected food crisis struck. This happened because of a mistake Edward made in the weather forecast. David, feeling frustrated and incredibly angry, acted without thinking. He ordered Edward, his own mentor, to leave the kingdom and never return. With a heavy heart, Edward quietly obeyed. He left the palace and the life he had known behind, disappearing from the kingdom. To start anew, Edward settled in a distant village. He chose to live as a humble farmer. Even though he still had his wealth, he opted for a simple life, connecting with the villagers and sharing in their daily struggles. It wasn't long before Edward earned the respect of everyone in the village. They started coming to him for advice on everything, from their farming issues to resolving local disputes. His wisdom became a guiding light for the community. Meanwhile, back in the kingdom, King David was struggling. He desperately missed Edward's wise counsel, especially when he had to face complex decisions all on his own. Slowly, David began to realize that banishing Edward was a terrible mistake. It was a decision made out of anger, not thoughtfulness. Regret started to gnaw at him, and he knew he had to fix his error. He decided to send out soldiers to search for Edward and bring him back. Days turned into weeks, and then weeks into months, but there was no sign of him. The kingdom was vast, and no one seemed to know where Edward had gone. Then David had an idea. He was inspired by the clever methods Edward himself had once taught him. David decided to set a test, hoping to find Edward's wisdom somewhere in his kingdom. He ordered his soldiers to send a letter and a special clay jar to the head of each village. The letter contained a strange instruction. Each village leader had to return the jar filled with wisdom within 1 month. If they failed, they would have to fill it with precious jewels instead. This was a challenge that puzzled everyone. The jar and the letter eventually reached the village where Edward lived. The village leader, completely baffled by the request, quickly went to Edward for advice. Wisdom can't be put into a jar, Edward thought to himself. "Hand me the jar," he said. "I'll make sure it's filled with wisdom by the end of the month." Edward just smiled and replied, "I'm not sure yet, but with time, I'm certain a solution will come." The villagers trusted Edward's wisdom completely. They left the jar with him, hopeful that he would think of something brilliant. Suddenly, he noticed a small pumpkin vine growing nearby. An idea sparked in his mind. Gently, he placed a tiny baby pumpkin inside the jar, being careful not to cut it off the vine. Day by day, he watered it and cared for it. Over time, the pumpkin grew larger and larger, slowly filling the entire jar until it was impossible to remove. Finally, when the pumpkin was fully grown, Edward cut the vine. He now had a jar with a giant pumpkin sealed inside. He sent the jar back to the kingdom, just as the king had asked. When King David received the jar, he was amazed. He saw it was filled with a giant pumpkin. A smile spread across his face. Growing a pumpkin this large inside a jar is the work of a truly wise mind, he said. Instantly, he realized this clever solution could only have come from one person, Edward. Without a moment's hesitation, David prepared to set out himself. He was determined to find Edward, apologize for his mistake, and bring him back to the kingdom where he belonged. This story teaches us two very important lessons. First, don't make decisions in the heat of anger. Strong emotions can cloud your judgment and lead to actions you'll later regret. And second, when you face a problem, take a moment to calm yourself before trying to solve it. A peaceful mind gives rise to clear thinking, helping you find the best path forward. Remember, wisdom often comes from patience and understanding, not from rash actions. Today, we learned some new words and sentences through this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, learning English can be fun when you practice regularly. So keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing. Make sure to like this video and comment below to share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.